series here, doing a martial arts chat. As you can see from the title that I put down, as you can read it here and there, it's going to say, I'm right, you're wrong. It doesn't mean that I think I'm right and everyone else is wrong. That's not what I think. It's to make a point. It's to make the point of our perceptions. We have too many people out there with opposite opinions, and yet they're putting them out there and displaying them as fact, like that's an absolute fact. Yet there's other evidence that would say to the contrary of what they're saying. Example, when people talk about competition and tactical training not being good, those are two different things. I just read an article about a guy, this guy he's a SWAT member, he goes back and forth, but he's also a competition guy, competition shooter, and he said the competition helped him in ways that the tactical training did not help him. And it helped him be able to basically acquire targets quicker. It helped him basically, and this is all the stuff that he's been able to acquire. He's able to acquire different skill sets from competition that he couldn't through the tactical training. And that's why I've always said that they need to be paired together. They've always been a part of one another. That's how that's how warriors tested one another. They would compete with one another. They didn't compete to the death. They didn't try to kill each other, but they were trying to, win. So they had a purpose to fight. Something that a lot of people don't realize, that's a good training point. And some people do not see that. Some people see that as only the thing about it. Well, the thing is, though, if you stay in your school only, and you never go outside your school, you never go to different schools to test that out on their free sparring nights or anything like that, if you don't ever take it outside of your school, then you just got people that are going to follow around and probably be afraid of you or whatever the case might be and say, oh, you're the top dog, you're the best dude ever. And even though you could be the best guy ever, natural lighting is the best, they're just going to dim it down. What you're going to do is you're going to stop yourself from really getting any actual pressure. And that's why, like, certain competitions, like kickboxing competitions, tournament fighting, MMA fighting, grappling matches, anything like that, they're not from your school. They're looking for the same thing you are, and that is to win. Well, that's a good pressure to put on you as a competitor, because that can translate into your more civilian self-defense or your tactical training, because your opponent, your enemy, is trying to win their side of the equation, and you are trying to win yours, and you can now feel the difference. You'll be able to feel the resistance that they have and don't have. You know how to deal with that kind of situation. But yet there's a lot of people out there that believe they are absolutely right when they say that self-defense is totally opposite of competition, and it should, and you should train for self-defense and not competition. That's just how it is. Okay, and competition, and there's just so many people right and wrong. Knife defense is one of the big ones out there, I think. I don't know if it's the biggest one, but it's definitely one of the ones that's out there today that I think, basically any type of weapon disarm or weapon control or anything like that seems to be a huge controversy. They seem to have this big problem with, hey, I know what's right, you don't. I know what's this, I know what's that. And automatically we just go, oh, okay. Because if you don't know, if you've never worked with it, you just kind of follow along with something that sounds kind of accurate to you because you just don't see it. Now, is there some bad stuff out there? Yeah, of course there's bad stuff out there. Of course there's bad training out there. There's bad teachers, there's bad students, there's bad curriculums because of it. Now, does that mean that there's not good stuff out there? That they're totally crazy? No. One of the biggest things like I've just been reading that a lot of people are doing. It's like don't get in the like you're automatically setting up. If you're teaching students and you automatically tell them, don't get into this situation because if not, you're gonna die. You already set it up in their brain. You're gonna die, and then but then the other thing you're doing is you're telling them that all the things that the Filipino martial artists are doing, all the guys that are doing like the Apache knife fighting stuff, or anybody that's doing anything that has any type of armed combat in that situation, Krav Maga, any type of military system, you're saying, well, those guys are stupid, and they really don't know what they're doing, and they have no idea. But then you would be wrong. Especially since you don't know these people, you don't know anything about them. A lot of times this is all based on our perception. Our personal point of view, our POV of the whole situation is, does it work, And a lot of people don't get it. It's like, well, it works for me. That's great. I'm glad it worked for you. It worked for me more than once. That's even better. How many people has it worked for other than you? Has it worked for your students? Has it worked for... have you trained anybody that's in a military capacity or a law enforcement capacity that could say whether or not it really helped them out? If not, then you can go off of your perspective that it works for you. That's great. Works for you. And that's what it needs to be. Instead of saying that all this other stuff is garbage and everything else is wrong, all that is clickbait. All that is for you to say your opinion is the best opinion ever. And basically it is just what it is. It's an opinion, not a fact. Just because you say it's this or that, it's not a fact. Okay? Some people say, well, don't do the cross block, flip around. It can work. Trust me, it can work. I can get people to get it trained, but it's how you train it and how you push it and how you pressure test it and how you motivate it. You got to have more than just, well, this is because I don't think it works. That's what it really comes down to. I don't think that works, and that's how it is. And then there's this thing about grappling in the street and don't grapple in the street, this, that, and the other. Everyone has their opinion of, does it work, it doesn't work. Some people are just ticked off that Brazilian Jiu-jitsu gyms are getting more and more people every day. And it just happens to be that kind of thing. Just every day it happens to be, they're getting bigger, I'm not having the student base that I want, so I'm going to basically do everything I can to counteract what they say. They say grappling's this, that, and the other. Well, I'm going to say it isn't. MMA gyms are popping up everywhere with the same problem that I think a lot of regular dojos have, and that's unskilled, untrained, and unknowledgeable in coaches. And I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying that there are some out there that they don't have the coaches, they do not have the knowledge, they do not have anything more than the fact that these guys walk around with coach on their t-shirt or on their hoodie, and they're making money off of people coming in there doing cardio kickboxing and Taibo, and they're calling it MMA. Because they got a cage in the section, they got heavy bags, and it's like, we MMA now, baby. So it's. And then everybody's like, but everybody wants to start countering it because they just feel like they're losing their clientele to these people. Well, trust me, if you're losing clientele to these people, or those people are going there rather than to your dojo, they don't want to be a part of you anyway. I was watching, was it Strength Camp with Elliot? Yo, Elliot! Love that guy anyway. And it was great because they were talking about Planet Fitness, and they were talking about how it does not cater to certain types of, power lifter, these guys that are really dead serious about this weightlifting stuff. If you got it, maybe I'll find it and put the link down below. I'm not sure. I think I'll do that. But the fact of it is what he was trying to let people know is, I don't understand why you're there anyway. Why do you care? Why do you care what these guys want? They don't want you. Everything that all their rules, all that stuff is set up to basically not want you in there. It's basically a polite way of saying, we don't want you there. Well, when MMA gyms popped up and dojos, it just gave people who don't want to go through I'm going to get a belt, I'm going to get a gi and stuff like that. It just, those people who didn't want to do all that stuff, they had a place to go. And when they have a place to go, it was kind of different for them. It was like, oh, hey, I have a place that I don't have to worry about all that stuff because I don't believe in any, like a lot of that other stuff. I don't believe in the bowing. I don't like all that junk. They have a place to go. So basically, you're not catering to them anyway. And then you throw MMA on your dojo's thing, even though you're not teaching MMA. All you did was add a partial grappling class that might have been wrestling at one time, and you're throwing in some basic submissions. And it's just garbage. It's not going to actually do anything. And all you did is add extra conditioning. It's like, just tell them what you're doing. If they don't want what you want, if they don't want what you have, if you can't impress people with what you're doing, then it doesn't matter. It just, they don't want to be there. And as far as the opinion of everybody, like this knife thing, like I said, you're basically saying that all the people who do knife work and what they're saying can work that's stupid. It's false. Even though they work with a tactical and military community, and they have people who had to use this and stuff, and it actually saved them, and they actually have people who testifying to this, and they have people who are from these positions and telling things that, it's like, it may not work for you, or maybe you just don't know. If you have no idea, maybe if you keep on saying it doesn't work, maybe you should try it first. I did try it. For what, a month? So it's like, you kind of have to have a grasp over what you're doing and and if you're in a big group setting and you're not getting certain like ideas, like you're just thinking you're knowing what you're doing, you might be doing it entirely wrong the entire time. It's hard to do a giant group class and everyone get it down perfect, succinctly every time. That's why they always stress it takes years. Why? Because you aren't going to grasp it that fast. Even if you think you can, you may not. Don't think that your opinion is always going to be correct. You're going to have to relook at your opinions. You're going to have to reanalyze things. You're going to have to relook at it and be honest with yourself and say, I could be wrong. I've had to change my opinions and views. I think I could look through a lot of my videos and find that I've changed my opinion since then. And and I think that's fine. I don't think that's a bad thing. Admitting that maybe I should look into this a little further is like not a bad thing. It's a good thing. You're still learning then. That means you're not shutting yourself off and saying that I know it all. Once you start writing things down and you start blogging things out that just basically says, hey, guess what? Everything that you guys learn or everything you guys know is crap. And everything I'm going to tell you is the way. That's your opinion. But you're putting it down as fact. You're not putting it down as your opinion. Or you would say it was your opinion. Or you would say it only works for you. And that other stuff just didn't really seem to work for you. No. Instead, you blast people by saying it doesn't work. Grappling, this and that. It's like, dude, I'm telling you, you got a great grappler on the street, he gets taken down, he ends up smoking this guy, or he ends up getting this guy to the ground and he takes his arm. If this guy's a trained, well-trained grappler, that arm's broken. It doesn't matter if this guy is gonna reach for anything or not. This thing's broken and he is still fighting and kicking. Because it's not like they train them only to go, hey, I got you now, you better tap, you better tap. You think they're that stupid when it comes to that kind of stuff? I think everybody listens to too many rumors and too much hype. So it's like they can do it just as well as anyone else. I think people start getting into all that stuff and start wanting to dismiss all that stuff. Is it dangerous to stay there? Yeah. Is it dangerous to work with someone with a knife? Yeah. But at the same time, can they train to fight against that? Yes. So it's one of those things. It's like, it's like everybody has this opinion that this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, and then they start chomping at each other, and it's like, listen, you're not always right. You're gonna be wrong. That's life. You gotta be honest with yourself. If you never are wrong, you're wrong right there. And I can tell you then, it's because of your narcissistic attitude that you probably don't have very many friends. I got friends. Name 5 that don't think you're an annoying a-hole. So the fact of the matter is, guys, you're not always going to be right. You are probably going to be wrong, but you got to be honest with yourself. Okay? Don't dismiss, these things out there unless you know for a fact that they're garbage. I mean, for a fact. You've attempted it. You've seen it. You know it for a fact. It's garbage. Because there is stuff out there that is like that. That is true. Because that is not an opinion. That is a fact. It is a scientific, honed, it is not going to happen fact. Okay? So, until next time, I want you guys to continue to be honest with yourself. Keep learning. You're not going to always be right. So keep learning. Be honest. And I will see you guys Friday.